Jai Hind children, today we are going to start a new history chapter from trade to territory. In this chapter, we will talk about how the Mughal Empire fell with the death of Aurangzeb and how the Nawabs started disintegrating with the Mughal Empire. Aurangzeb was the last powerful Mughal ruler. After the death of Aurangzeb, the later rulers proved to be inefficient and foreign powers got opportunity to establish their rule in India. In this chapter, you will study how the East India Company first came to India for business, slowly started expanding its territory over here, and gradually became the rulers of our country. The subtopics covered in this chapter are listed below. These are the main topics we are discussing today. That is, East India Company comes east. Second topic, East India Company begins trade in Bengal. Third one, how did trade leads to battle? Fourth one, the Battle of Plassey. And the last one is the Battle of Buxar. So this dear student, please watch the video carefully. Before starting the topic, first we must know about what is trade to territory. The Mughal Empire ruled most of the Indian territory right from the early 16th century to the mid 19th century. As they took over the country, they introduced the concept of trade and then used the same concept against us. So this is called trade to territory. Dear children, our first topic is East India Company comes east. It tells us about the arrival of East India Company, Portuguese and Dutch in India for mercantile trading business and about their battles to establish powers. In 1600, Queen Elizabeth, the ruler of England, gave a charter to the East India Company. The charter granted the company the sole right to trade with the East, and no other English trading group could compete with it in the East. But the royal charter could not prevent trading companies from other European nations from entering the Eastern market. It is important to mention that Vasco da Gama had discovered the sea route to India via the Cape of Good Hope, and he was a Portuguese. Hence, before the arrival of the British, the Portuguese had already established their presence in the western coast of India. They had their base in Goa. The Dutch began to explore the possibilities of trade in the Indian Ocean by the early 17th century. India produced fine qualities of cotton and silk which had a big market in Europe. Various spices from India like pepper, cloves, cardamom and cinnamon were also in great demand in Europe. All the European companies were interested in buying these things, which resulted in a price of a rise in these items. Thus, the potential profit reduced. Eliminating the rival competitors was the only way for trading company to flourish. The intense competition to hold a monopoly resulted in the fierce battle between the trading companies. Trade wars carried on with arms and fortifications were done to protect the trading post. Dear children, this is one of the important questions related to the first topic. The question is, what attracted European trading companies to India? The answer is, they could buy goods at cheap prices and carry them back to Europe to sell at higher prices. The fine qualities of cotton and silk produced in India had a big market in Europe. The Indian spices like pepper, cloves, cardamom and cinnamon were in great demand in Europe. The next main topic is East India Company begins trade in Bengal. The East India Company set up its first factory on the banks of river Hooghly in 1651. The warehouse was called the factory and the company's traders were known as factors. With the growth in trade, the company persuaded merchants and traders to settle near the factory. The company began to build fort around the settlement by 1696. It also got zamindari rights over 3 villages into 2 years by bringing the Mughal official. One of these villages was Kalikata, which subsequently developed into the city of Kolkata. The company also convinced the Mughal Emperor Aurangzeb to grant the company the right to trade duty-free. But some of the company officials carried on private trade on the side without paying the duty. This caused enormous loss of revenue for Bengal. The next main topic is how trade leads to battles. After the death of Aurangzeb, the Bengal Nawabs began to assert their power and autonomy. Murshid Qoli Khan, Alvarti Khan and Siraj Dawla became the Nawab of Bengal in succession. Dear children, don't forget the name of that personalities, that is Murshid Qoli Khan, Alvarti Khan and Siraj Dawla. They refused concession to the company, demanded large tributes in lieu of company's right to trade. They denied the company any right to mint coins and stopped it from extending its fortification. The company, on the other hand, declared that the local officials used to make unjust demands. It was ruining the trade and a removal of duties was necessary for the trade to flourish. The company also wanted to enlarge its settlement and to rebuild its fort so that it could expand trade. Thus, the conflict between the Nawab and the company increased during the 18th century. Dear children, this is one of the important questions related to our previous topic. The question is, what were the areas of conflict between the Bengal Nawabs and the East India Company? The first one is, the Bengal Nawabs denied concession to the East India Company on many occasions. Second point is, they demand large tributes for the company's right to trade. The third one is they denied the company any right to mint coins. So these are the causes for starting the conflict between Bengal Nawab and the East India Company. The next topic is what are the main causes of the Battle of Plassey? The first one is disputed succession of Siraj Dawla. The second one is disrespect of Nawab by the British. The third one is British help to Siraj Dawla's rivals. The last one is British support Shaukat Jang. So these are the main causes for the starting of Battle of Plassey in 1756. The next topic is Battle of Plassey. The Battle of Plassey was fought on 23rd June 1757. It was fought between the Nawab of Bengal and the British East India Company, in which the East India Company emerged victorious. Alvarti Khan died in 1756 and Siraj Dawla became the Nawab of Bengal. In 1757, Robert Clive led the company's army against Siraj Dawla at Plassey. Main reason for defeat of the Nawab was that the forces led by Mir Jafar, one of the Siraj Dawla's commanders, betrayed Siraj Dawla and never fought the battle. Mir Jafar promised by Clive to be made Nawab after crushing Siraj Dawla. As per the deal, Mir Jafar became the Nawab of Bengal after the defeat and death of Siraj Dawla. But he was the nominal head of Bengal and the actual power remained in the hands of British. The next one is what is the importance of Battle of Plassey in Indian history? The Battle of Plassey was a major battle that took place on 23rd June 1757 at Plassey, Bengal. It was an important British East India Company victory over the Nawab of Bengal and his French allies. It let the British East India Company take control of this part of the Indian subcontinent. So this is the importance of Battle of Plassey.
One of the most decisive battles of the British conquest of Indian history. The victory at Battle of Plassey consolidated the British power, thus making it easier for them to collect exorbitant taxes and satisfy their motives of trade. But how did all this happen? How could a band of foreign nationalists who came to buy silk and spices manage to win a war? Well, that's the charm of history. The East India Company, which came to India in the year 1612, had gained a substantial presence in the Indian subcontinent by the end of 17th century. And by the first half of the 18th century, they had established the trading centers at Bombay, Calcutta and Madras, and also had an upper hand over their rivals, the French and the Dutch. So they always pressed for less taxes and free trade to the successive Nawabs. But the Nawabs were strong and refused any kind of concession for the company, while at the same time demanded large tributes from the company for its right to trade. After the death of Alivardi Khan, his 23-year-old grandson Siraj Dawla became the Nawab of Bengal. He was a man of ferocious temper and feeble understanding. So, to secure its interests, the company tried to help one of the Nawab's rivals to ascend the throne, which it failed to do so. This infuriated the Nawab too much that he asked the company to stop meddling in its political affairs and stop fortifications and pay the revenues. But all the negotiations failed. So the angered Nawab at once took his 30,000 soldiers and marched to the British factory at Qasim Bazar, arrested all the officials, blocked all the ships and headed towards Calcutta to capture the fort there. Fort William was captured and all the English soldiers were imprisoned in what came to be known as the Black Hole. No, not the one which Stephen Hawking discovered, but this black hole was a chamber which measured 14 by 18 feet, and 143 prisoners were all flocked together into the single room. Days later, when the prisoners were released, only 23 walked out free, whereas all others died due to suffocation and asphyxiation. When the news reached the company, officials at Madras sent a troop of 3,000 soldiers commanded by Robert Clive, the British officer who had brought fame to the company by winning the Carnatic Wars, and Charles Watson. But however, the company didn't want a war at first place. The letter from the council read, "The object of this expedition was not merely to re-establish the British settlement in Bengal, but also to obtain ample recognition of the company's privileges and reparations for its losses without the risk of any war." Meanwhile, William Watts, a British official at the court of Bengal, informed Robert Clive of a conspiracy that was being hatched by few to overthrow the Nawab Siraj-ud-Dawla. So Robert Clive held clandestine meetings with Mir Jafar, Lutuf Khan and Rai Darla. He made an alliance with these people and that they would not participate in the war in case if a war was inevitable, and in return Mir Jafar would get the throne. The battle actually took place at a place called Palashi, the anglicized version being Plassey, on the banks of river Bhagirathi on 23rd of June 1757. But the battle would go on to last for only 11 hours. The British had a combined troop of 3,000 soldiers, while the Nawab army accounted to more than 50,000 soldiers. But 35,000 of them did not fight the war, as they were commanded by the defector Mir Jafar. So the Nawab lost the battle due to political stubbornness of the British. As per the alliance, Mir Jafar was made the Nawab of Bengal. The British got huge sum of money as war reparations and were given the right to collect taxes and trade free. Siraj-ud-Dawla was assassinated. Thus, the war came to an end, but its ripples could be felt even after decades and centuries. The East India Company would later go on to win the Battle of Buxar and become Diwan of Bengal, and would continue its policy of annexation by introducing many controversial laws like the Subsidiary Alliance and the Doctrine of Lapse, and so on until the First War of Independence in 1857.
The next topic is what was the Battle of Buxar? It was a battle fought between the English forces and a joint army of the Nawab of Oudh, Nawab of Bengal and the Mughal Emperor. The battle was the result of misuse of trade privileges granted by the Nawab of Bengal and also the colonist ambitions of East India Company. The next one is a few reasons which were the key to the Battle of Buxar are given below. Mir Qasim wanted to be independent and shifted his capital to Mankar Fort from Kolkata. He also hired foreign experts to train his army, some of whom were in direct conflict with the British. He treated Indian merchant and English as same without granting any special privileges for the latter. These factors fueled the English to overthrow him, and war broke out between Mir Qasim and the company in 1763. The next topic is what is the importance of Battle of Buxar in Indian history. The victory of British at the Battle of Buxar on October 22, 1764 is considered even more important than the previous victory at the Battle of Plassey. In this battle, the combined forces of Mughal Empire, the Nawabs of Bengal and the Nawabs of Oudh were defeated by the British. So this is the importance of Battle of Buxar. The next one is company officials become Nawabs. In 1764, Robert Clive was appointed Governor of Bengal. After the Battle of Plassey, the actual Nawabs of Bengal were forced to give land and vast sums of money as personal gift to company officials. Many company officials like Clive made vast wealth. However, not all company officials succeeded in making money. Some important questions related to our topics. So dear children, in this class we have studied about how the East India Company first came to India for business, slowly started expanding its territory over here and gradually became the rulers of our country. East India Company comes east, then East India Company begins trade in Bengal. How trade leads to battle? The Battle of Plassey, the Battle of Buxar, and its importance. I hope all of you understood. Please read the textbook carefully and prepare the notes.